Good afternoon, everyone. This is Hamilton Rodriguez. Um, Hold on a second. Just turn down the volume. This is Hamilton Rodriguez. Uh, I'm here today to do a little show, and I have a little presentation to bring to you guys. But before I start, I'm going to give you guys a little background about myself. My name is Hamilton Rodriguez. I've been in the real estate industry for over 25 years as a broker and also an investor and also a coach, real estate coach, and a real estate instructor. I'm well versed in the real estate industry. So today, uh, this talk that I'm going to have today has been on my mind for a couple of weeks. And I would like to, get it off my chest and discuss it with people. Uh, Basically, we're going to talk about supply and demand for housing in Massachusetts and the impact of proposed single-family zoning reforms. As we all know, there's zoning reforms happening in Massachusetts right now, and today I want to talk about such. And basically, I want to discuss the Massachusetts housing market. And the purpose of this presentation and context is to talk about the economic forces overview, affordability challenges, zoning reforms, benefits and drawbacks. So, the economic forces of housing supply and demand strongly influence residential property prices in Massachusetts. Massachusetts faces affordability issues due to employment growth, population pressures, and limited housing population. Recent zoning reforms aim to increase housing availability, including allowing duplex style homes in single family zones. Zoning changes have potential benefits and drawbacks for neighborhoods, homeowners, renters, and local governments. Um, with that being said, we're going to talk about the housing supply and demand and fundamentals, where demand refers to households seeking homes at varied price points, influencing market competition. Limited land, restrictive zoning, and slow permitted restricted new home building and increased scarcity. When demand outpaces supply, prices rise, causing multiple offers, higher rents, and affordability challenges. Massachusetts illustrates this dynamic with strong job growth, attracting residents amid supply limitations. Why housing costs are so high in Massachusetts? Well, we're going to talk about job concentration in Greater Boston, the zoning and residential density, high development costs, and housing shortage impact. High paying jobs concentrated in Greater Boston attract workers nationwide, increasing housing demand and prices. Zoning policies favor single family homes, limiting residential density and restricting housing supply growth. Development costs, infrastructure needs, and environmental reviews make new housing expensive and slow to build. Housing construction, lagging population growth causes shortages, driving up home prices and rents significantly. How housing shortages affect prices. Uh, Sellers market dynamics. Uh, we have rental market impacts. We have reduced geographic mobility. We have economic and social consequences. Limited housing supply creates a seller's market with intense competition and rising sale prices. Scarce rental units enable landlords to increase rents, burdening renters financially. Housing shortages limit affordable options near jobs, reducing household mobility and impacting workforce. Rising housing costs hinder home ownership, raise renter costs, burdens, and affect regional economic competitiveness. recent proposed zoning reforms in Massachusetts. We have the zoning reforms that we have right now is the MBTA Communities Act, accessory dwelling units, aka ADUs, duplex housing proposal, and maintaining neighborhood character. The MBTA Act promotes multifamily zoning near transit areas to increase housing availability and access. The accessory dwelling units, aka ADUs, reforms permit smaller secondary units, expanding housing options in many Massachusetts communities. Duplex housing proposal to allow duplex units by right in areas currently limited to single family homes, increasing density. Maintaining neighborhood character, the proposal supports design standards and local regulations to preserve neighborhood appearance amidst growth. So now we're going to talk about the potential positive neighborhood outcomes with these proposals by the state. There's always a positive and there's always a negative. We're going to talk about the positive first, how this is going to positively impact Massachusetts in the housing crisis and the housing prices. So the positive side of this is increased housing production, affordable housing access, support for local economy, and neighborhood compatibility. So this is allowing duplexes can boost housing supply and diversity options in established neighborhoods. Young families, workers, and seniors may find attainable housing closer to communities they know. Higher residential density can strengthen transit use and boost local businesses effectively. Duplex development blends with existing patterns when guided by thoughtful design standards. Now we're going to talk about the potential negative neighborhood outcomes. With this being said, we talked about the positive. Now we're going to talk about the negative. The negative is there's going to be infrastructure strain, changes in neighborhood character, community and political concerns. Higher residential density increases demands on parking, transportation, utilities, and public services, potentially stressing existing infrastructure. Widespread duplex construction may alter the traditional neighborhood feel, causing concern among homeowners about changing community identity. Issues such as school enrollment, growth, municipal budget pressures, and land use disagreements can lead to political disputes and community tension. So, how do we balance housing growth and community goals? Balancing affordability and preservation, guiding growth with planning, minimizing community impact, and zoning reform challenges. Both housing affordability and neighborhood preservation are vital goals to achieve sustainable community growth. Design standards and infrastructure planning help manage the pace and location of new housing to gain community acceptance. Effective policies prevent new housing from overburdening infrastructure, public services, and community identity. The success of zoning reforms depends on balancing economic growth with social outcomes through effective implementation. So we have all these things being said. My key takeaway and further outlook is the supply and demand impact, recent housing reforms, benefits and challenges, future outlook factors. Where we have housing prices in Massachusetts are shaped by the persistent imbalance between supply and demand, driving high prices and rents. Legislative reforms like MBTA Communities Act and duplex allowances aim to increase housing availability and affordability. Reforms may bring more housing choices and lower prices, but raise concerns about neighborhood character and infrastructure. The success of zoning reform depends on implementation, planning decision, and balancing growth with preservation. Uh, I would like everyone to think about what I discussed today. I know it's a short podcast, but just think about what I said today and understand how supply and demand works in the housing market, not just in Massachusetts, but throughout the country, um, and how the zoning reforms affect you and I in a positive way and in a negative way. So think about having a triple decker or a duplex next door to your single family house, or someone building a accessible an ADU, accessible accessory dwelling unit in back of their yard in a single family neighborhood. That doesn't sit well with a lot of people. But at the same time, we have a crisis here in Massachusetts where Eastern Massachusetts, this is where the job growth is, this is where the industry is, and it's hard for people to basically get a high paying job, but all their money is going towards living expenses. That's going to hurt local businesses because now people don't have disposable income to go out to the restaurants and bars and shop at the stores and buy extra clothing, and so on and so forth. And disposable income is important to today's economy. When you have disposable income, it allows you to do other things besides spend your money just on housing costs, which, in a sense, you're, you know, working to live and living to work, or whatever direction you want to go with that. Uh, and basically, I'm not sure if increasing housing stock is still going to bring houses down, prices down, but in a sense, I think it'll stabilize it. Um, because you're always going to have appreciation on your house, um, and everything plays a role in increasing prices, not just supply and demand. You have increased taxes, increase insurance, increase water bills, and increase overhead on the house. So that plays a role in rental increases. And I'm not sure if rents are going to be stabilized with this more housing stock. But one thing I know it's going to solve is going to solve a place for people to live. At what price? You guys decide. So, in my point of view, is um, I think the increase in housing stock is important, but I don't think bringing it to a single family neighborhood is the answer. Maybe an ADU in the backyard, I can live with that. An in-law unit in the backyard, but this is just my opinion. Um, we can build housing stock in areas near train stations. I'm all for that. Uh, but in my opinion, increasing density in an area where it's already dense for the sake of increasing housing stock um, is not the correct answer. Uh, we have someplace called Central Massachusetts and Western Massachusetts. So if government policies were implemented where it increases economic growth in the western part of Massachusetts and central part of Massachusetts, this will allow for stabilization of prices, and it'll spread out the cost of living instead of concentrating here in eastern Massachusetts where supply and demand. Supply is low and demand is high. When you have um, equal economic growth across the state, that's a good solution. But how do you bring people to Western Mass? How do you bring people to Central Mass economically? It's creating jobs, bringing businesses out there, big businesses, corporations, and so on and so forth. In my opinion, that's the way to go. Um, let me see here. Higher density will increase infrastructure costs. Most higher paying jobs require access to public transportation. Alfredo Orejuela, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Housing is an individual livestock choice. Plenty of housing stock in Western Mass. I agree, Alfredo. I agree. And this is the whole point of this this podcast here today. So to wrap this up, thank you for tuning in. I will be back on my next episode with the another interesting topic, just like this today. But remember, supply and demand in Massachusetts can be solved. The supply and demand issue and the pricing issue is bringing industry to the other parts of Massachusetts where people can find plenty of housing. It's sufficient housing in Massachusetts. We don't have to keep building in this area. Allow people to venture out. I guarantee you'll see the prices stabilize. Thank you. This is Hamilton Rodriguez. I'll tune in next time. Hamilton Rodriguez on Facebook, Hamilton Rodriguez MPA on Instagram, and The Outsiders on YouTube. And you can always hit me up on Messenger on or WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is 857-205-5812 if you just want to discuss what's going on in the real estate industry. Thank you very much. And remember, I'm here for all your real estate needs. Call me 857-205-5812, either on WhatsApp or that number to contact me directly. 857-205-5812. Thank you for your time and tune in. Carl Hendricks, have a great one, Hamilton. Thank you, sir. I'll see you later. Stay tuned for the next episode.